Rahmanir Rahim. Let's continue. For those who did complete all of the homework, mashallah, may Allah reward you for your efforts and consistency, inshallah. For those who didn't, you got some catching up to do. Every week you're going to get new work, and the key to the success of this particular course is consistency, even if it's a little bit of time in the week. But you know, every week you're going to come and you missed out and you missed out. Eventually you're going to feel bombarded, and then you just see your friend next to you disappeared and you don't know where he disappeared to. So consistency is really the key. The way you did it now, you checked it with your partners, you checked it. If there's any questions, which when I went around, there were quite a few questions, you know. And it's nice if sometimes if there's a question that everyone gets to benefit from that particular question. If there's any particular sentences you need answers to, you need references to, the one verse, for example, number 16. If you look at number 16, so generally the objective is over here to do the translation literally from what you find in your words, and then to reference it to maybe check if your understanding is correct. Note also that these ayat of the Quran is sometimes taken out of context just for the objective of learning to translate. So sometimes you're not going to get the full meaning, but to get a better understanding, you would reference it. Number 16, the reference is incorrect over there. One of the brothers picked it up and we just checked. So it's supposed to be Surah number 3, verse number 196. Okay? So if anyone that checked maybe to get a better understanding, you wouldn't have found it, because it's Surah number 3, verse 196. Also, a question was asked regarding number 13. بَعَثَ فِي الْأُمِّيِّينَ رَسُولًا. بَعَثَ فِي الْأُمِّيِّينَ رَسُولًا. If you translate it literally, you're not going to get a proper translation. And that's the importance of getting to understand the Arabic language. Understand? Arabic is Arabic. It's understood by the Arab. When you translate any language, literally, you're not going to get a proper translation. So it has to be translated in context. So for example, if you translate it literally over here, you can say, بَعَثَ, he sent in the unlettered a messenger. In the unlettered a messenger. It doesn't make sense. But what is actually meant by that, like I sent into the classroom. So I sent amongst, or he sent amongst the unlettered a messenger. Okay, so context is very, very important, and note how you're going to learn certain vocab and so on and so forth, but it's not always going to be, you're not always going to be able to translate it directly. And a very important point that I want to make here is the importance of having a teacher. Man shadda shadda fi nar, as Rasulullah says, one who goes alone, he goes alone to the fire. If you are alone, then shaitan becomes your ustad, because you can master the language, but then you still don't know the intricacies, because Rasulullah taught the Sahaba taught the Tabi'een taught the Tabi'een, all the way to where we're finding ourselves today. You know, so very, very importantly, always hold on to a teacher that can give you a better understanding and can give you guidance, because if not, then shaitan becomes your ustad. There was one beautiful incident that happened, and it can be as a means of inspiration for us as well, and then we'll continue. So this particular person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a challenge in the Quran, and he says that if you can find any fault in the Quran, then come with it. Or if you can duplicate one surah, then come with it. But Allah says you will never be able to do this. So this person says, I'm going to take on the challenge. And he is a non-Muslim, so he studies. He says, before I'm even going to go look into the Quran, I'm going to master the Arabic language, and I'm going to ensure that I find a mistake. So he spends years and years mastering, like literally on a level that far surpasses any of us and our efforts. And eventually he's now ready. So he studies the language, he studies all the sciences of the language, and he comes to the Quran. So he starts reading Surah Fatiha. And he comes to Surah Baqarah, and he reads Alif Lam Mim. And he says to himself, in all of my studies I haven't come across this. He says this book must be something special, and embraced Islam. Embraced Islam. So this is the Quran. It's something very, very special, but it's come down via a chain. Rasulullah received it from Jibreel alayhi salam. Jibreel alayhi salam then continuously referred to Rasulullah. It is said that in Ramadan, every single Ramadan they revised, and in the last year of Rasulullah's life, they revised the Quran twice over. And this was the connection that Rasulullah had with Jibreel alayhi salam. Jibreel alayhi salam then passed it on to the Sahaba. So make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens up the meanings of the Quran, you know, But man tawada'a lillah rafa'ahu Allah. Whoever is going to humble himself for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sake, as Rasulullah says, Allah will then raise you. You know. So humble yourself in front of the Quran. Humble yourself in front of the work, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will definitely open up for each and every one of us. Amin al-Rabbal Alamin. So Khair, we're going to continue. Is there any questions regarding the work? Yes, 31. Yes. Yes. Okay. So question on number 13. We did a new rule last week, harfu jar. Shortly we're going to do a quick revision of that. So we'll find that when you look at your vocab list, the word comes as, where's the word? Does it come in your vocab list? I don't see it here. Yes, it does. Number 20, right at the bottom, the second one, it comes as ummiyun. Does everyone see that on your vocab list? Vocab list. Number 20, it comes as ummiyun. So now you find ummiyun as unlettered, but you find in here ummiyin. So now you get confused. But there's nothing to get confused about, because you learned the lesson last week, miss. Huh? So you don't need to worry. So now fi is a harfu jar. Ummiyun becomes ummiyin because of the harfu jar. Una becomes ina. That's all. Third one? Good? Alhamdulillah. So that's that example. Another question that was asked is, where's the other question that you asked now? With the him. Oh, number 20 on the questions. Khatam Allahu ala kulubi him. So generally you know it as whom, isn't it? Kulubi, it's supposed to be whom. So now how come it's kulubi him? Something different. It's a damir, it is a pronoun. But because of the harf that comes before the word kulub, which puts that word into halatul jar, instead of kulubu, it becomes kulubi, and for the sound, the word changes to him instead of whom. So you can't say kulubi hum. It doesn't flow, it doesn't sound correct. So it becomes kulubi him. So it's still the same pronoun that you've had before, that you've learned before. Hum means them, but it's changed. It has a kasra for the flow of it. Either hurrika bil kasra, when you move forward with the kasra. So that's the change over there. Are there any other questions that you maybe picked up that were confusing, so that the entire class can benefit before we continue? Now's your chance, inshallah. No? Okay, khair. So then we'll continue. What I'm going to do is, Mawlana Khalil says the next lesson that we're going to do is mudaf in ilayh. That's got to do with your fragments. We're going to start that particular lesson next week. There's still more exercises that we're going to do today. I'm just going to once again give a quick outline of what we're busy with and how each lesson forms part of a puzzle to get a bigger picture. So, like a puzzle, if you only have a few pieces, at the end of the day, you're not going to see the beauty of that masterpiece. So every lesson that you do in this particular class, from the first lesson that you did to the last lesson that you're going to do, inshallah, it's part of that particular puzzle, and every piece is important to eventually get you to have a wider and better understanding of the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so we make dua again that through this journey, that you hold on to every piece of the puzzle. Sometimes on this journey you don't know what is going on, and you don't know where you are. Don't worry. Up until June in my full time, I didn't know what was going on. I promise you. I was just lost until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala eventually opened up for me. So if you lost, don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. Just continue striving, continue begging of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open up, and He definitely will open up. So, a quick look at the overview of what we've covered. And again, any language deals with the words or the word, al-kalima. We know that we're dealing with three main things regarding the word. That's the ism, which is the noun, the fi'l, which is the verb, and the harf. Then, when we look at the ism, there's four particular aspects that we look at, and that is gender, encasing, number, and definiteness. Everyone got that? So this assists you throughout your process. The mawsoof sifa that you did so much later consists of gender. So to agree, it must agree in gender, and then it works. So you started out with this, and now you're seeing how it continues to assist you. So gender is, in Arabic, it's going to deal with the masculine and feminine words, and in Arabic it's going to be mu'annath and mudhakkar. You did this? You remember this? Okay. Then we're going to do encasing. It's got to do with the state of the noun or the condition. Hal. Hal is the condition. The encasing. Either it's an, in, un. Raf, nasb, jar. Halatul asma or hal. Halat is the plural of hal. Asma is the plural of ism. Halat, the states or conditions of asma, ism. Asma, nouns. Number, adad. And either definite or indefinite, and that is nakira or ma'rifah. So everyone got that? So this is your start of your journey with your ism. Once you got this four, then you have a really solid grounding of understanding the ism, and you can then build up and take it further from there. So just quickly, we're going to look at mudhakkar and mu'annath, femininity, masculinity. We look at, in the Arabic language, every noun has a gender, even inanimate things like a pen or a book. Important to note, all words are masculine, all words are masculine. Except for four categories. Let's look at the four categories. So number one, signs of femininity. You see a ta marbuta, you see the ya without the dots, and you see the alif with the hamza. That's the signs of femininity. When you see these signs, you know the word is feminine. It's deemed feminine. Dar, nar, ard. These words don't have any signs, but the Arabs use it in such a way that it's feminine. When you see it in context, when it's being referred to, the referral is feminine. So for example, it will say, Hadihi narun. Hadihi narun. Hadihi is a feminine form. But because the word is deemed feminine, Hadihi is going to be used. When a verb is going to be used. So for example, hypothetical. You instead of say fa'ala nar, you can say fa'alat nar, because these words are deemed to be feminine. Shamsun. The next example, it has a feminine meaning. So we know Maryam is a female. I know today we have all these crazy things happening, but Maryam is a female. And Zainab is a female. Everyone agrees with that. So when you refer to Zainab or Maryam or any female, then the verb will be feminine, or any reference will be feminine. You will say hiya Maryam, not huwa Maryam, even though there's no signs of femininity. And the last one is due body parts. So yadun, because yad comes from a pay, region, leg comes from a pay, ain comes from a pay, udhun comes from a pay. These are feminine words or deemed to be feminine. So when you refer to the ears or the eyes in context, the words before or the words after will be feminine. You did this. Everyone understand it? Tazain, you look very okay. Is there any questions on this thus far? No. Okay, so this has got to do with gender. First thing, gender. We carry on with the next one. Halatul asma. You're going to have the types of nouns. Nawul ism. You're going to have singular, mufrad, muthanna, jam mudhakkar salim, jam muannath salim. Broken plural is jam mukassar, and then you're going to have mabni words. So in halatul raf, singular is going to be u and un. Halatul nasb, a and an. Halatul jar, I and in. The dual in halatul raf is going to be what? Ani. Ani becomes aini, and aini becomes aini. So ani becomes aini or aini. That's halatul jar or halatul nasb. How do we know exactly if it's halatul jar or halatul nasb? Context. Context, that's all it is. Then sound masculine plural in halatul raf. Una. Una becomes ina and ina. How are we going to know exactly if it's halatul nasb or jar? The context is going to tell us that. Sound feminine plural becomes as atun. Atun becomes atin and becomes atin. And in the broken plural is exactly like the singular. Un, a, an, I, in. And then mabni. Did you do mabni? Mabni? Mabni words are those words that its encasing cannot change. The hal will be understood to be in halatul raf or halatul nas, but the encasing cannot change. So for example, the dama'ir, the damir, huwa in halatul raf stays huwa. It doesn't become woo woo. Or it doesn't become in halatul nas, but stays like that. Or it doesn't become huwi. It will always stay huwa. All the dama'ir, hum, ulaika, and so on and so forth. So that is the mabni words. This is your gender. Second one, encasing. It's got to do with your hals, the condition or the state of the noun. Everyone got that? Any questions regarding that? No? Khair, let's continue. Some examples. Al-kitabu, what hal? I need to go through this very quickly, so I need quick responses. Halatu raf, good. Maktabun, halatu raf. Maktaban, halatu nasb. Al-miftahu, rafun. As-sayyarati, jar. Someone said jar before the time. As-sabiqani, ani, kasra jar, no, you sure? Ani, mashallah, don't allow it to confuse you. Raf. Al-mu'minuna, halatu raf. At-ta'ibatun, halatu raf. Al-qalamaini, nasb or jar. How are we going to know which one it exactly is? Context. Al-mu'minina, nasb or jar. Waladin, jar. And the last one, ulaika. Did you do ulaika? Ulaika is one of the mabni words. MashaAllah, we got an advanced student here. Ulaika is one of the mabni words. Mabni means it remains like that. It will be halatul raf, nasb or jar, but there will be no sign to show you that. Khair. That is encasing, that is your hal. Everyone got that? Good. So that can be raf, nasb or jar. Number, adad. So you have mufrad, you have muthanna, you have jam. Mufrad is muslimun, for example. Muthanna is going to be muslimani or muslimaini. Good. Jam is going to be muslamuna. Wait, first jam, you get three types of jam. You get your jam mudhakkar salim, your sound masculine plural, una. You have your jam muannas salim, your sound feminine plural, atun, and you get your jam mukassar. What is jam mukassar? Broken plural. So the word doesn't remain intact. Like Muslim becomes muslimuna, qalamun becomes aqlamun. The word qalam is broken up. Jam mukassar, broken up. So that's your three examples. Una, the word un over here. You see dictionary work? Dictionary work. Whenever you look for a plural, you're going to have to find it in the dictionary. If you look at a word in the dictionary and they say un, then it means it's una. It's a sound masculine plural. If you look in the dictionary and you find at, then it's a sound feminine plural. Atun. And when you're looking and it's none of the two, it will be a broken plural. They will give it to you in transliteration as well as the Arabic. So to find a plural of the word, you have to look in the dictionary. And they will either tell you at, un, or they will give you the plural. That is adad. Very simple. Everyone got it? Any questions? Danielle? Questions? Good? Okay, khair. Can we continue? Then we have ma'rifa and nakira. Ma'rifa and nakira is definite and indefinite. So gender encasing number and definite or indefinite. Ma'rifa usually begins with an al, no tanween. Example, al-babu. Begins with an al, no tanween. Al-babu, the door. Nakira has no al, may end in tanween. Example, babun, a door. So just some examples: indefinite nakira, babun, tiflun, zahratun, and indefinite al-babu, at-tiflu, az-zahratu. Very easy lesson. Either it has the al or it doesn't have the al. If it doesn't have the al, there will generally be a tanween there. When the al is there, it is definite. The, very specific. When you say a, it can be anything. Nakira, indefinite. When you say the, it's something specific. And that is your definite and indefinite. Okay, got that? So what does this lead you to when you have gend? It's going to take you to the point where you can now look at any word and you must be able to answer these 4 questions. So, muslimani. Adad, what number? Dual. Encasing, what hal is this? Halat raf. Definite or indefinite? And gender? Mudhakkar. So this is where it takes you to any word look at. You're going to be able to, through what we just did now, be able to identify any word as to even what gender it is, what's the hal it is, what number it is, and is it definite or indefinite. Another example. Al-mufsidu. Jam. Encasing, hal. Raf. Is it definite or indefinite? It's definite. How do we know that? Because of the al. Good. And is it masculine? How do we know that? Because of the una. There's no signs of feminine. As-salihati. Dual. I heard a dual. Okay. اختلف العلماء that I've put together that hopefully going to assist your process of forward movement. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our efforts, inshallah. So next week we'll do a quick revision of Jumla and then the Murakkabs, and then there's some other things that come in between that is quite good as well. Okay, so we are we doing for time? What time is our break? Okay, I end at 10 to. So one of the things that we have to do, and this is going to be homework now, inshallah. We're not going to start it now as we're going to end on 10 to, and Sheikh Ismail starts you at 10 to. Is 5.2 exercises, worksheet 5.2 and worksheet 5.3, as well as worksheet 5.4. So hal exercises. The word, for example, number 1, Fatima, Fatimatu, Talibatun min al-Madinati. So under each word you need to say what hal it is. So Fatimatu is halatu raf, Talibatun halatu raf, and then you must say the sabab. What does sabab mean? The reason. So it's either going to be the mubtada, or it's going to be the khabar, or it's going to be the fa'il, or it's going to be the maf'ul, and so on and so forth, like you've been doing in all the other examples. Everyone got that? Okay, so that will take you up until 5.4, inshallah. You can start with the first example, and then the rest will be done for homework. As Mullah Khalil requested, just for the last few minutes, just to be used as some nasiha, inshallah. So just start with that, and then we'll continue.